Listen up, I'm not even doing the intro this time because I'm dipping my toes into some spicy business. In my last video I talked about a few things that I liked about Rise and Sunbreak. And although I love this game to bits and I will always recommend everyone to play it, some things are just... God, Jesus. Starting off with a less controversial one, event quests and collabs. I think it's fair to say that they felt a little weak this time around. Don't get me wrong, stuff like the Akuma layered armor was fucking sweet. In fact, most of the layered armor, the event quests, were very nice. There was a lot of nostalgia too, with some fan favorites returning in these event quests, which was quite nice. As someone who has only played World, GU, and Rise, I felt it was necessary to gather a little bit more information on past events. And boy, let me tell ya, there is some crazy shit out there. Just look at this USJ event from 4G. Look at this armor set. God damn. Since I started with World, I thought maybe I was just being picky with collabs since we got some really good stuff like the Horizon Zero Dawn collab and Resident Evil. We even got Dante from Devil May Cry. But I think I speak for the fifth leaders when I say that we've seen nothing yet. Here's a quick list of some of the past collab events that I found that I thought were pretty cool. Attack on Titan, Hatsune Miku, Madoka Magica, Evangelion, Legend of Zelda, and even Yu-Gi-Oh, dude. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because there really is some insane past collaborations. Does this mean that the collabs in Rise are bad? Not really. You see, collabs come down to preference. I see a lot of people talking shit about the Ghosts and Goblins collab, and I kinda get it because I'm also not a fan. But when I saw a friend of mine just so happy to see Arthur and get his layered armor, I just couldn't help but be happy for him. This is where I think some people need to become a little less selfish. Sure, your idea for a collab might have been better, and perhaps even appeal to more people. But as long as someone is happy about a collab, then why not just be happy for them? Would I like to have seen a few more collabs in Rise? Yes. Do I think that we could have gone for some better stuff? Yes. But am I upset or disappointed? Not really. We still got some pretty good stuff, and besides, there's a lot of business shenanigans involved with licensing and whatnot, and I'm not even going to open that can of worms, because no. Now, this is where I'm going to start getting a bit controversial. I don't really mind the paid DLC so much. Now, calm down. Let me explain. I do have a slight issue with the amount of paid DLC in Rise and Sunbreak, especially since some of it felt like it didn't really need to be monetized. I'm okay with cosmetics having a price tag, but I couldn't help but be a little confused with some of the stuff like the paid poses and stickers. Now, I have been told that specifically in Japan, people use stickers way more, so I kind of understand the need for something a bit more exclusive. I just feel like the paid DLC for Rise Break was at its peak when stuff like the OSTs and some of the layered sets were coming out. And this is probably where my most controversial take about Rise Break takes place. I'm not sure if stuff like the Lost Code and plushie weapons were implemented in the best way possible. In an ideal world, maybe we would get a quest that gives us a one-time ticket for a one-time weapon use only. That means that you can kind of get from this event one free layered weapon of your choice, but you cannot go back and make another one. Maybe this would serve as a motivator for people to buy more if they are interested, but I totally get having this stuff behind a paywall. Some of you have told me that what bothers you is the fact that there isn't anything comparable to these layered weapons and their unique sheathing animations. But that's kind of the point. I get it. I also think that maybe we could have gotten a freebie and buy more if we want to. But let's put it like this. Most people I know went ahead and only bought one layered weapon for their main. Now, if this pick was free, do you think they would have been just as likely to still go ahead and buy a weapon? And this is kind of a no-answer question because I don't have the sales statistics to say yes or no. It's just purely based on instinct. But I do have a hunch that perhaps sales would have taken a bit of a hit if you got one weapon for free. But Ark, this doesn't sound like Capcom. They have never seen their player base as just wallets. I'm right there with you on this one. I don't think Capcom is money hungry at all, but I do know that games are a lot more expensive to make nowadays. So if a player is willing to pay extra for cosmetics, I don't see a problem with them being flashy. Of course, as long as they don't interfere with the base content of the game. At the end of the day, I'm really not bothered as long as paid DLC remains purely cosmetic. I want to stay far, far away from shit like battle passes, item bonuses, early unlocks. So until Capcom turns around and says that if you buy the deluxe version, you get 100 Asian potions and a full defender armor set and 3 exclusive quests, I'm completely fine. My opinion is that I like the game so much that sometimes when the paid DLC that I really just can't resist comes out, like the OSTs, I just have to pay for it. Now let's take a step back and go into something a little bit more tame and have a chat about the maps. Now I'm not focusing on gathering spots or OSTs or camp placements, just the map itself. For starters, I think the Shrine Ruins and the Citadel were absolutely amazing. Their designs feel unique and they go really well with the Warbug mechanic. I especially like the castle area in the Citadel. I think it's like my favorite part of Sunbreak, but I can't help but feel completely indifferent towards every other map. The flooded forest and the frost islands were just not for me, and the sandy plains and lava caverns just felt a little lackluster. Again, this is one of those things where it boils down to taste, so do take my opinion with a pinch of salt. Maybe it was the revamping of the maps with wire bugs in mind, but they just didn't really wow me. Although it was nice to see new takes on the Foreign Lawn Arena and the jungle, I didn't feel the uniqueness of maps like Jurassic Frontier, Frozen Seaway, Coral Highlands, Primal Forest, Misty Peaks, and so on. Then again, when you get two banger maps, you can't really expect the rest to be on the same level. Your opinion here might differ in terms of the maps, but I do think that a lot of you are going to agree with me on the next topic, which is none other than Anomalies. God, where do I even begin? What starts off as a fun challenge soon became my fucking sleep paralysis demon.
It's time to grind anomalies.
No! It just reminds me of that one meme. Anomaly time!
What level?
Secret. Okay, one more anomaly meme and I'm done, I promise. POV, Capcom raises the anomaly level cap for the second time in 1 week.
Cap raised to level 200, and now...
Okay, I'm done. My beef with anomalies isn't that after a while you just get one shot. My problem is that you constantly get one shot and the monsters have so much fucking health. The special requests take a while to refresh, so you're just stuck hunting the same monster for what feels like hours. And you do this so often that after a few hunts, you're just an empty shell. I get it, it's meant to be an optional thing, meant to give veteran players something more challenging. But god damn, these hunts take so long. Capcom really did just look at us and go, enough cock rating, it's time for the durability test. By the time I reached anomaly level 230, I was just dead inside. The guiding lens just felt a lot more rewarding, and the leveling up of specific areas encouraged me to spend more time on multiplayer, synchronizing my needs with my friends. Meanwhile, I absolutely dreaded going into a 4-man hunt on high-level anomalies because everyone was on autopilot, and sometimes that doesn't work out. Now, my final point about Rise Break kinda adds as to why anomalies just felt so draining. And this is the fact that in Rise Break, you are always hunting. There wasn't an awful lot to do besides rushing down bosses and gathering spirit birds, which most people stopped doing anyway. As a side note, Capcom, don't bring the fucking spirit birds back. They were cute at first, but when I have to do the exact same route every single time I was on an anomaly quest, which was very often by the way, I was just ready to commit an avian genocide. I totally understand that the game is fast because it's designed for the Switch. The point was to focus on the hunting while reducing downtime, and that's fine. But what else is there to do besides hunting? The Argosy or Argosy, whatever you want to fucking call it, it kept you stocked up, and the Ninja Bros would even fetch you some extra stuff. So gathering was just not really needed. Monster tracking just wasn't a thing. Room decorations were pretty much gotcha. The Gathering Hub had no minigames and it wasn't even there for the expansion. So you were out on the field pretty much all the time grinding those anomaly ranks. Oh my god, you sound so negative. It's like you don't even understand their design choices. My friend, I promise you, I do. When you look at the 5th gen as a whole, there is a very clear distinction between the goal with World and the goal with Rise. World was meant to westernize the series. It was a big gamble. They went all out with graphics and made the world itself super immersive. But this did come at the cost of combat not having much variety and the NPCs being kinda ass. Looking at you. With Rise, the goal was to make the game more accessible than ever. The tempo of the game is much faster, there is less stuff to do between hunts, tracking is no longer needed, and so on. Rise did succeed in becoming the easiest game to get you into Monster Hunter. However, it did feel like much more of a boss rushdown game and less of a hunting experience. When I talk about Rise being easy, I don't mean it in a bad way, okay? If you take someone who has fought Rathian multiple times and in multiple games and you make them faster while keeping Rathian's moveset roughly the same, yes, it will be a much easier hunt. However, if you give a newcomer this exact same speed and throw them into the Rathian for the first time, they're gonna struggle. But if we go from this logic, then does that mean that GU is really easy? The hunting arts in GU pretty much give you anime moves that either buff you in some way or deal ridiculous amount of damage or just flat out make you invincible. So does that make GU an easy game as well? And this is not me necessarily downgrading your opinion, I'm just saying that in Rise, because of the speed of the game, it feels a lot easier for the people who have experienced Monster Hunter before. And that's the thing, your first Monster Hunter game will always be the hardest because you are new to a series that has a very, very steep learning curve that takes both knowledge and practice. Rise just chooses to focus on making new players more comfortable and gives them less to micromanage, which I admit is a genius strategy to get a title that makes people want to play Monster Hunter more. It's simpler in concept, but still provides really good challenges with the late game monsters and anomaly systems, the hazard quests, and all of that. If you prefer slower and more methodical hunting, there is always hope that Monster Hunter 6 will cater to your needs in one way or another. And if you prefer a more fast-paced hunting style, I would advise you to go back to the older titles in the series and experience these other elements that you haven't already. Personally, I only started treasuring certain aspects of the hunt when they were no longer there, and I think perhaps a lot of people might feel the same way if they were to play older titles. At the end of the day, I do want Monster Hunter to have more off-hunt options like gathering pets, maybe increasing the farm, different things that don't mean that you're always fighting. And I know that this is a big split in the community between veterans and newcomers alike. Some people say that Monster Hunter has always been about just rushing the boss and getting the best time you can, while others, like myself, maybe prefer other things in the sense of, no, actually I like gathering, I like tracking, I like doing stuff outside of the hunt. And I understand that both sides are valid, but I'm leaning towards the latter a bit more. But I'll talk about what I want in Monster Hunter 6 in a different video. I mean, Tokyo Game Show is right around the corner and we might be seeing some Monster Hunter 6 stuff there. And plus, I just want to share my thoughts on what I think the next Monster Hunter game should look like, and I'm really curious to see what you guys are gonna have to say on it. Because if you think Monster Hunter should sacrifice its hunting aspects to become a more boss rushdown oriented game, then you clearly never spent hours trying to collect a funny monkey to put in your house. But that's gonna be it for me today. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the stuff that I've said in today's video, and also do tell me why, because I'm really curious to see how you guys feel about some of this stuff. I'll see you guys around. Peace.